Welcome to the Conversations with Deborah show. My name is Deborah Burden, and I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I am kicking back up my show for the year 2016. When I started my show back in 2011 on Blog Talk Radio, it was strictly about business. We interviewed many business people and things like that, and I have evolved from that point of chasing the dollar. I don't believe we are here for that. Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe in making money, but I don't want to make it a priority. I believe that abundance comes with what we do as long as we have our spiritual house in order. As the Bible says, seek ye God first, the kingdom of heaven, and everything else shall follow. So my question to you today is, and I apologize by me looking sideways, but my camera's over here and my bigger screen is over here. So you will see me look side to side from time to time. The question put to you today is this: do you believe you can be a kind, peaceful, balanced spiritual person while living a life of financial abundance? So with that, I have some guests that's coming on the panel. And I've also, if you have something you want to share and be on the panel, I have put on the event page the link that if you click it, it'll bring you right in on the panel with me. Greg Lohr is a spiritual partner of mine. He's also my website developer. And we've been friends for about 5 years, maybe 6 years. You know, I get the time mixed up, but he's a very good friend of mine. He's very good at, he's a perfectionist in what he does. So he builds websites he has clients that he builds websites for, maintains for him, as well as my sponsor in how to help your dog, your pet, your cat or dog live an abundant life, a longer life, and a healthier life, which we'll share with you that as we, get into the show. Looks like Greg is trying to get in to the call. Okay, let's see. Oh, he's here. Hello, Greg. How you doing? And then I have a new friend I just met recently while watching him be interviewed by Dee Lynn, who was a coach, a inspirational coach that she shares her show, interviewing other people and helping all of us as we journey through this life here on earth. I was really impressed with Roland because where he was coming from, his story was fascinating because it was so much like my own. And he gave me words of wisdom in what it is that I'm doing on the business side. And I appreciated that. We reached out to each other and connected. And I am now participating rather in he has a 30-day challenge of learning how to affirm in a much more law of attraction way, which I'll share with you in another show because I hope to bring him on the show at some point and interview him. But the question put forth today, Greg, you want to say something? Say hello to everyone so they see I'm not here alone. I think he might still be getting that drink of water. That's understandable. Okay. Or do I have you muted? Let me see here. It's been a while since I did Google Hangouts, and it's changed a little on me. So I'm going to have to take one whole day and learn how to work this Google Hangouts. I can't get my badge up or anything, so I might need to do some extra downloads to get the whole room functioning properly. But it wasn't going to let that stop me from doing the show. Greg, are you there?
Can you hear me this time?
Yes, yes. Thank you for joining me on the panel.
Yeah, glad to.
Um,
Just to let you know, Deborah, my computer seems to be running a little slow. It took me a while to get in here, so if I have some technical problems, I may have to back out and restart.
that's understandable. It took me 5 tries just to get the room up and going. So I know the feeling of the trials and tribulations of the computer and internet. So, Greg, will you share with the people what you do and where you are?
Oh, where do you want me to begin, Deborah? I do a lot.
That is true. That is true. We both have full plates.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely
you're,
full plate.
you're in Charlotte, South Carolina, right?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Columbia. I always get that mixed up. Columbia,
Yeah,
South Carolina.
Charlotte's about a little over an hour, close to an hour and a half from here.
Okay. So I'm not too far off.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have to actually go through Columbia and then up the interstate to get to Charlotte. But if you just went from one city to the other from the outskirts, it's a little over an hour.
Okay. Gotcha. So, and also, I want to share with you all, Greg has been um, an inspiration for me in my journey of my spirituality. And we have discussed, what it is that, I believe, he believed, and compared notes on, uh, you know, and he has helped me a lot walk this journey, this spiritual journey. And I get off track, believe me, I do. Because, I embrace a lot of things. But in the end, it's going to be that what really is spiritually inspired and direction for our lives. And I enjoy, excuse me, I enjoy researching uh, what what our walk is supposed to be like. I look at Jesus' life, and he was set down to be the example for us as well as be our savior. And I personally have gotten away from religion and walked this spiritual journey. But it's funny. Last night I heard on I can't remember what show it was, but it was an online talk show, and they were talking about the percentage of people that are now announcing they are spiritual but not religious. And it seems to be a growing number, globally, that people are recognizing that many of the religions are giving you false teachings. What do you think about that, Greg? I know your opinion. I'd like to hear it again.
Oh, I have a definite opinion on that one, Deborah. Um, yeah, a person's viewpoint is shaped really by whether or not they follow Christianity. If you follow Christianity, there's one viewpoint and one viewpoint only. If you're outside of Christianity, most people believe that any road will get you to where you want to go. And so that's when someone says they're spiritual, the question is, or which spirit are they following? So
True.
to follow God is one thing. To follow something other than Him is another. And I have to speak from a Christian viewpoint because I am a Christian. To come from other viewpoints, I understand. I don't condemn people for what they believe or what they want to do, but at the same token, one question I like to ask people is if you and I are standing somewhere talking, and one day Jesus shows up to take His people, are you going to look at me and say, Greg, you knew this was going to happen. Why didn't you try harder to get me to listen to you? And so that's kind of my stance in life. If a person would say that to me, if we were standing together, we need to talk now, not 5 years from now or 10 years from now, because it may be tomorrow. Tomorrow may be too late. We never know. People die every single day, and once you die, that's it. You don't have another tomorrow to make that decision. I don't condemn people for what they choose to believe by any means, but I will say that as a Christian, I follow that one path, and if somebody wants to hear that one path, I'm happy to share with them. If they don't, that's fine. That's their choice. God gives them that choice.
Hmm. That's true. That's true. And we have to respect the beliefs of each other as we share our own beliefs. You never know what door you can open because there are so many people that they're just listening to a church body and one individual standing in a pulpit. And for me, I see that as one man's interpretation of what he is reading. And I went through so many churches that never gave me true examples of why they say what they say. Now, when my experience with Greg, he led me to, excuse me, there's a website called amazingfacts.org that will actually walk you through by scripture and teachings of the Bible and give you a much more spiritual view of why we are to do certain things. I enjoyed it. I don't get into the reading part of it, but the videos are all, I mean, he delivers such a strong message, and his story is fascinating. His story is I asked myself, could I do that? No, I know I couldn't. But for him to, it's like listening to his story was like it brought to mind when Jesus went out into the desert and was tempted by Satan. I can't think of his name. What's his name, Craig? Um, the the
Whose name?
the, uh, the gentleman that does Amazing Facts.
Oh, that's Doug
Uh,
Batchelor.
Doug Batchelor. Yes, Doug Batchelor. Um, his journey, his story of his journey, what led him to where he is today, and how he has of authority to deliver what he does because he's lived that example life of Jesus. Um, my question today is, and me and Greg both are network marketers, entrepreneurs, and I question, are we doing things right when we do what we do? And I had to, in processing of that question, I had to ask God, am I supposed to be doing this? We live in a monetary system and we need money to live. There's so many that are pushing you for this abundance of dollars. When technically, if you understand what the monetary system is, there's nothing to back it. And that has always pulled at me. If you have been a person that has lived an abundant life and you get there and you will be surprised of the amount of problems. You think poor people got problems. Rich people got bigger problems. So when you look at someone's life, you see the end result at that in that time, and you like, I want to be just like him. I want to have the cars and the houses and all the money. You have not did the work to get there, so you're going to fail before you start by not stepping out. Uh, in my opinion, building it like a brick house. You got to build it one brick at a time. But my question behind that is, can we be taken off task of our connection with God? Because that's like a carrot hanging out there. And as you get more of it, our focus kind of can get away from where we're supposed to be. So how do we live a happy, abundant life and stay on the spiritual path? What do you think, Greg?
Well, Deborah, that's one of those questions that people could debate for hours. Personally, I think it's got a simplicity to the answer. For instance, where your focus is in life will make such a huge difference as to how you handle that situation. Uh, a lot of people, I think of somebody that I know right now who calls herself a Christian. Her focus is so strong on money that the Christianity
Mm-hmm.
kind of gets set aside. And
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very dangerous ground to be upon. To live a life as a Christian, money cannot be your sole focus. Now, do we need money to survive in this world? Yes, we do. Do But it's how we use that. For instance, if you look back into the Bible, many men were of old were blessed. They were wealthy. They had everything. God blessed them abundantly, but He didn't bless them abundantly because they were greedy. He blessed them abundantly because they followed Him and used whatever wealth that God gave to them. They used it for His purposes.
Mm.
And so our focus, if our focus is on self, that's when we have problems. If our focus is on
Mm.
other people and not on self, then yeah, that makes a big difference. A lot of people say money is the root of all evil. Actually, that's quoted incorrectly. The greed of money is the root of all evil. And so you have to consider what are the motives behind the money. I hear a lot of Christians talk about, well, God promises abundance in the Bible. Yeah, He wants us to be abundant, but He doesn't want us to be abundant for selfish reasons. I see a lot of pastors out there. There's some on TV. Uh, One in particular I'm thinking of, I won't call any names, but he's got this humongous church. They give him millions of dollars. He owns the rich fancy cars and the big house, and he has the planes, and he flies around, and he spends his money on glamorous things.
Mhm.
And I ask myself, should he be doing that? And
Or
when I
where does
look at,
God, you know,
yeah, you broke up. Say that again, please.
how does God fit into all of that? The plane, the cars, where's God in that? And who is He helping?
Well, that's exactly my point. If he's doing these things because of the love of money, he's got the wrong motive. If he likes to show off that he's wealthy, he's got the wrong motives. His heart's not in the right place there. Uh, if he's living a humble life, and that's Jesus, he came to earth. What kind of life did He live? He as humble and as poor as could be. He could have had anything he wanted. He had the Father's command at his hand, but that wasn't the call. The call is to love your neighbor as yourself. If you've got money and you do nothing to help somebody in need, what good is that money done?
Right.
The scriptures, speak about that quite a bit. You got two shirts and you don't give one to somebody else who doesn't have any. That says a lot about you.
Mhm.
It
Well,
all comes down to one word. It's a four-letter word, Deborah. It's called love.
love.
Yeah, that's if your motives are from love, that's one thing. If your motives are for self, it's another.
One of the things that people, I think, construed money is with love. They think the more money they have, the more they're going to be loved. When it's just the opposite. The more money you have more people in your lives that are there because of the money. And if you've ever experienced that situation, it can be devastating. It can be, you think you've got good friends around while the money's flowing, and you are doing things for people, but when it dries up, circumstances happen in life. And a lot of times it's a lesson to wake you up that you're on the wrong path. Uh, you find out that they were never really your friend, because a true friend will love you without the money. A true friend will support you and be there without the money. And my question is, can we be in this monetary system, in this world we live today, and it's so off balance right now from what it was when I was a little girl or when my mother was around. And I know that it was predicted in the Bible that we were headed in this direction. I did not think it would be during my lifetime, but it's here now. A question: can we be a kind and peaceful, balanced person, um, and a spiritual person without being ridiculed by another person because of their beliefs, while live in a life of abundance? And how much is abundance? Uh, that's the thing. I've been on the internet since '91. I left in '99. I came back in 2005, and the method of so-called helping people has changed drastically. I do see a small shift in because people are getting awoke to, what the so-called, as they call them, gurus are doing. Uh, my and even I was following because I was listening to them. I was trying to emulate that same path, but it's not a happy path. Um, it wasn't for me anyway. Yes, you can make money, but what you're really doing is I felt like I got food every time I bought something, and there was no support. It just kept eroding me in where I was in the process of getting up and going. And I had to take a long look at what I had on my plate, and I said, what is really going on here? I wasn't happy. In fact, I was beginning to get depressed. And Greg led me to Baxter. I can't think of his name. Doug Baxter, and I took time out to really look at my life. And I said, when I came back, I said, I'm going to fix what I can, and give the rest to God, and He will fix the rest for me. And in that moment, I began to experience, it's a true fact. You have to watch what you ask for. I began to experience crises that were challenging, but I also seen some awesome times come out of it where I could see God was working in my life. He was using people that were around me to show me who they really were and what I was, in their life as well as in mine. One of the things I came up with that has turned everything around is this. I can be a kind person. What another person does has absolutely nothing to do with how I treat them. How they treat me, they'll have to deal with it with their creator, and we all are judged. There's a consequence for every action. And what I began to realize was I can only police me. So I must be as peaceful and kind as I can be to others, a humble person, a balanced person. Now, getting balanced, I had to take a lot off my plate. And I'm still taking things off my plate. And it's ironic, but I run an Amazon and eBay store, and I all of a sudden that I got on this path beginning in 2016, the beginning of 2016, I said, starting out with it, I wanted to become more conscious and aware of who I dealt with, what I dealt with, and keep me, I asked God to help me get in alignment to His will. And it changed a lot of things in my personal life, my business life, and every day the crises are coming because He wants me to get it down to where it's His will and I'm not bogged down with so much. I got to the point where, and some of you may understand this, you have so much on your plate that you can't complete anything. Have you ever been like that, Greg?
Oh yeah, many times. It comes down to discipline. This is something I've been studying on for the last few months, and an area of my life I've got to become better at. If you're not disciplined, you're just being blown around like a leaf in the wind. It's the disciplined person that finds success in this world, and I don't just mean monetarily. I mean success in the fact that your life is going as you want it to and as it should, both from a spiritual as well as a monetary viewpoint. Success is defined differently by many people, so we won't go down that road at the moment. But yeah, I've had too much on my plate. Matter of fact, I've been pulling back myself and looking at, because as you asked me in the beginning, what do you do, Greg? Tell everybody, and I'll just give a quick, brief answer. I had a cleaning and lawn service, and the economy dropped really devastated that. That's the first thing people drop. I also own a Stork News franchise, um, which I had bought in hopes of dropping the other stuff. And again, economy has messed with that. So I came to the internet and I've started to build websites and different things. And also found another company I want to do some work with. So I had to ask myself, I was spreading myself too thin. What am I going to do? Where am I going to focus my efforts? And so just to make this short and sweet and simple, the income I've got coming in from my old businesses, I still work with that. I'll let that income come in for a while until I get my income up in the other areas. But my focus really is going in the other areas because that's where I want to be. And until I
Mhm.
get the income up in those areas, I have to still work with the old ones. But as far as I'm concerned, in with the new and out with the old. And that's yeah, you just had to focus it down and say, this is where I'm going to put my energy and let the other stuff go. And if we don't do that, then there's just too many brush fires, um, too many different things. And yeah, I've had people tell me in my life, if you don't focus on one thing, you get spread too thin. And I came to understand the importance of that. However, when the economy dropped, I also learned that if you have all your eggs in one basket, and you drop and the basket gets dropped, all your eggs break.
Yes,
so, so
that
I,
is
I,
so
I,
true.
I do want 2 or 3 different streams of income. That way, if I lose one, I got another one going. I want to build residual income streams, which you can't do with a job. That's usually an hourly or salary. So yeah, I'm looking for residual type things. And if you build up a residual income, then you can have more than one income stream. So it's a matter of focusing and making something work by focusing in on something and then spreading out from there as you are able to and can do so.
I agree. It's mastery. This is the thing when you first come to the internet. There's so much that you get bombarded with, and it all sounds good. But and I wish somebody had really grabbed my coattail and said, Deborah, you have to brand what you are, who you are, and promote you, and then everything that you do will follow. And I heard this years after I had been setting up multiple websites and different all these multiple programs. Oh my God, I can't even count how many programs I've been in. And I even set up one of my own, and Greg was co-creator of it, along with 2 other people. And Greg tried to tell me, I have to admit it was my fault. I was so excited about what we had put together, but he was warning me we wasn't ready. And I launched it with nothing but a comp plan and no product. And it came back to bite. And it's been a uphill battle ever since. And those of you that know me for that program, which is 4 Steps to Success, it's gone nowhere. It's still there. It's just my focus has been on everything else but it. And that's because I keep putting too much on my plate. It is a situation of mastering one. So, and then acquire another stream, and never let your personal life be dwindled to where you have none, because you got to take care of you too. And I can see where you can be happy and and at peace with yourself when you balance those two. I was working 12, 15 hours a day on the computer and didn't make any money. I had a lot of situations, a lot of programs, a lot of websites, and all this was requiring my time. But I hadn't learned the key principles of setting myself up in a way that I could take care of my personal life too. And it was dwindling my health. So you don't want to do that either. I believe we can be balanced and happy and spiritual uh, and at peace when we know what we want to do. And what you're not good at, you have to learn how to delegate and relinquish to the person that loves to do it. And that's how we help each other. You can barter services. Um, you know, I'm sorry. Oh, I just got Cindy Lucas to contact me. Um, I apologize for that. Uh, so what I'm saying to you is, think of your life and your business being a brick house, and you step one brick at a time, and you're co-creating and recreating you, because if you get to that point where you realize you've been doing what everybody else tells you to do, and I did it for 49 years. Um, yes, I stepped out on faith in a lot of things I did, but I did it only on the basis of what I knew, and I had never really taken time to learn the proper way or the better way or the smarter way to do what I was doing. Because I look back now with my very first business. It was a brick and mortar. It was a clothing store. If I had been much more educated in how to do the business uh, than what I was, I would have been a lot more successful with it. I had the business, but I had poor financial skills. Um, God, like I say, God has blessed me with many businesses. I had another business that I know how, I tell people all the time, I know how to make the money, but I've got to learn how to manage the money. And that's simply because I didn't appreciate the now when I look at then, I wish I had the income now that I had then, because things have changed. It's much harder. And if you don't have the financial literacy that you need, you're not going to be at peace. I can just assure you, it'll be crazy. So with that question out there, yes, I believe we could be at peace in a financial abundance, but you got to also know how to make that work, not just for self, because I'm beginning to wake up to the fact that our lives are really not ours. We were sent here on a mission to have a life experience, to take these experiences back to where we came from. Um, and that's what I believe. Uh, when you ask the question, where did I come from? Why am I here? And where am I going? Uh, Usually when you come into the point of your life where you say you want to break away from all the teachings of your parents, your teachers, the governmental system and everything, and there's a wake-up call, a light bulb goes off for it's time to align with God's will. That's when you usually start asking those three questions. Where did I come from? Why am I here? And there's a lot of paths you can end up even going down with that. I've tried several. Um, I just know that there's a God, and He's had my back, even when I didn't know He was there. And His will for me is where I am now placing myself. Um, and He's working on it too. I can see it. And I hope all of us experience this, because I can see less drama in the world. If everybody began to love God first, love themselves second, and you've really got to learn how to love yourself. If you let external circumstances be the judgment of you, who you are, what you are, then you're going to have problems. That's when the sin of vanity kicks in, and so many things that we do wrong on the basis of outside of ourselves. We got to start with the inside. I've recently I began this meditation journey, and it's been an enjoyable circumstance for me. As Greg, he gave me warning, and he is valid in what he says. We can open ourselves up to a negative spirit when we go into those states of meditation and things like that. I'm learning what I need to know, and as I learn it, I will share it with others. I agree with him, because I know for a fact I've been bombarded with negative spiritual attacks. We've discussed them. and it's taken me off so far off path. It's crazy. But God, because I am a child of God, He always realigns me. The part that I'm tired of is not knowing uh, uh, that I'm off path. I have to go through the crisis or the lesson to get back on path. And I don't think that we should have to be bombed. Our life journey has to be over inundated with those lessons. If you get the lesson the first time and you remember it, you won't repeat it again. And I'm one of those hard-headed ones. I'm learning how to be truthful with myself because I'm learning how to love me. I can remember one day saying, if I could love God as much as I love the men in my life, I think my life would be a whole lot more happier and better. We as women get caught up in the I need a man thing. Um, and it's unfortunate that don't always be there. That doesn't always work out. People are always evolving and changing and outgrowing each other that things fall apart. Now, nobody ever intends that in the beginning, but things happen, which is another show. um, I was wondering if we had anybody. Yes, we have a few listeners. If you have any questions in regard to what we've been talking about for me or Greg, you can put it into the chat and we can address it. Or you can click the link um, from the, I put in the link to the panel and come on the panel and join it with us and discuss this matter with us. We have a few more minutes. We got a few more minutes before I end the show. One of the things I want to share with you is we have a website I want to share with everyone that listens to us, because it's not just about us. You have pets that you love. Excuse me. You want to do what's best for them. Then you need to find out the shocking truth about the pet food industry. You really do. I've had pets off and on. I don't have any now, but I am involved with helping other people learn what they need to learn. Because did you know that in loving your pet, you want to give them the best nutritional value that you can, and give them a longer life, a healthier life. Well, if you don't know this shocking truth, you could be the contributor to why your pet has a shorter lifespan and be sick. There are a lot of dogs and cats out there on medicine. I would have never thought pets would need medicine, but they're ending up with health issues that adults have. Humans have. I think my thought in the beginning was, it's an animal. It's governed by God's will, so they never have to worry about any of the things that we worry about. But that's not true, because as we take them on as pets that we take care of, we're going by what we know or what we're bombarded with advertisers, and not really understand what it is we're buying and giving our pet. So there's a website called The Shocking Truth About Pet Food. You need to go look at that information and realize that we're hurting our pets. And that's the sponsor of today's show. So I wanted to get that in. We have no questions, Greg. Do you have any information you want to share with our, for the recording? The two that we have are not. I guess they have no questions. They're just listening.
I don't really have a whole lot to add. I've gone back and looked at the original question of, do you believe you can be a kind, peaceful, balanced, and spiritual person while living a life of financial abundance? So I say we close out by just briefly touching on that again, because it's I think it's a matter of decision. For instance, in the book of Daniel, in the Bible, Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not eat from the king's table. Mostly because what the king's table had was things that were not good for him physically or spiritually. So he made a decision. He purposed in his heart he would not eat those things. I think that's where we have to come from. That same mindset. I'm going to purpose in my heart that I'm making this decision to do this way, and this is the outcome that I want from it. If I'm chasing money for the spirit of greed, I'm going to reap the results of that.
Gotcha.
Many a Christian got ruined from greed. Matter of fact, Judas, who walked with Jesus, it was shown he was quite greedy. He was after the money. He sold Jesus for 30 silver coins, and so it's again, it's how you purpose in your heart. Is your heart coming from a place of love or a place of selfishness? And whichever place you live yourself in, or you live your life, you will suffer the consequences if it's from the wrong side, or you will reap the benefits of the good consequences from the right side. I'm always teaching my daughter there's consequences to every single decision you make. She's 12 going on 13 here soon, which is like, okay, she's 30. So I'm really trying to get her to understand the rule of consequences. And if you just flounder through life and you don't make those types of decisions in your heart, the default is not good. The default decision will actually put you on the side of looking at it from a greed viewpoint. People generally want money because they're greedy. I don't know too many people who have said, I wish I had more money so I could help more people. Most people are going, I wish I had more money so I could buy a bigger house. I wish I could buy a nicer car. I wish I could buy 3 more cars. I want this, and this, and I want that, and that. But yet you don't often hear people say, I wish I made more money so that I could give to this particular organization or to this church or to the poor or to provide meals at Thanksgiving, things like that. And talking about it's one thing. Actually doing it's another. I've known a couple of people, they go out of their way at Thanksgiving to help others and make sure people are fed. And that is so awesome. And that's the kind of people God is looking for, people who have love in their heart, who care about others rather than self all the time. Obviously we're going to want to take care of ourselves. That's different than I got to have the 10,000 square foot home with 6 bedrooms and 10 baths so that I can show off to my neighbors versus, something that you just need a big enough house to live in and do what you need to do. I could talk on that for hours.
It's sad how we've gotten off track with the bigger is better, but it's really not.
No, it's not. I saw an interview with Brad Pitt one day, and it was very touching. I don't know too much about Brad, so I can't say too much about him. But this interview was very good, and he said, people, they want the money, the house, and the cars. He says, I can tell you, I'm there. He says, it does not give you happiness. Trust me, that is not where your happiness comes from.
And I believe that. I've lived it. I've seen it. So, with that said, I think I'm going to end the show today. I thank you very much, Greg, for joining me as my co-host on Can We Have a Peaceful, Happy life living in financial abundance. I hope what we share with people will help them at least think about what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it. Excuse me. If you need help in figuring that out, connect with me on Facebook or through my website, deborahburden.com, and let me help you figure those steps out and those things out. We also have a fan page, excuse me, Conversation with Deborah. But the best place to get with me is on my personal, on my branded blog, and that's deborahburden.com. You also can connect with Greg at the Shocking Truth about pet food, as well as greglore.com. And let us help you out. And it's not a situation that, many of you are probably used to. We want to connect with those that want to change their life. And we're not asking you to come to a webinar, listen to a spiel, and then at the end of it, you got to pay to get any more from us. That's not the case. We're here to build true relationships for the long term. And I believe, excuse me, I believe as we help each other, we will live that financial abundance, and then we can turn our things around. You can't be successful, in my opinion, unless you are pulling someone up. That's one of the things that network marketing was all derived from. So think about that. Greg, you have a last word, and then I'll end the broadcast.
Oh, well, now, not really, Deborah. I think you said everything needed to be said there. Good job.
Okay. My throat is getting dry, and that's why I'm starting to cough. Well, thank you for listening. If you're listening to this in recording, I will have the links to our how to connect with us in the description. Excuse me. Take a swallow. And I apologize for the coughing. My throat got dry. It's dry in here. It's snowing outside. I got the window closed, so and that's what's causing me to cough. But everyone, have a great day, and thank you for taking time to listen to this recording. We will be back next Friday with and I will, if you posted to or agreed to see this week, you will automatically get a update for next week, and I do always post it through my Google Plus. So if you're not connected to us, just understand that it will go out publicly. Follow me in Google Plus, follow Greg, and you'll get the update of the next show, which is next Friday at 1 o'clock. Everyone have a great day, and I will see you later.